some of you, it's not even that you have, or that we have dated a lot of people, but we may have had durations of toxicity in our lives. And that can weigh you down and age you. It can. And so, shout out to all of you who, have been brave enough to go through those waters and get through to get out on the other side of the sand, so to speak. Um, and I can't wait to do the setting of the table with you guys this week, because I think it's really going to really impart some knowledge and be super helpful. But let's go ahead and get into some mess. This week we are calling our gossip segment "Nasty by Nature, bitch." Okay, and we are going to start this week with DaBaby, who was, now listen, every week it seems like we are talking about DaBaby, um, which leads me to believe that the image that we are sold of DaBaby, in terms of him being this kind of happy-go-lucky kind of gangster from North Carolina, who has this career, who seems to be really happy. I think that's one facet of him. And I think that what we're realizing is that he could probably be a little bit impulsive and a little bit handsy, you know what I mean, in terms of, wanting to slap a nigga. Well, this week, he was caught on camera exiting a club, and a female fan looks to have hit him with her cell phone. Now, you can see in the image that her cell phone light is actually on, which was weird, and she kind of taps him in the face. And it almost seems like instinctually he punches her or boxes her. Now, if I'm Jamaican, so a box is like it's not a punch with a closed fist. It's more of like, it's heavier than a slap, but lighter than a punch. So it's somewhere in between, and it normally means maybe more of an open hand, whereas a slap could be like, I'm not going to take my hand 6 miles back. A box is, I'm going to take my hand 6 miles back, and I'm going to muster up all the energy that I can and ross you across your face, okay? And it seems like that is what happened with DaBaby. Now, here's what I have to say. I know a lot of people may be torn, because it's like, is it okay under any circumstance to put your hand on a woman? Is it okay in any circumstance to put your hand on a man? Now, a lot of us can argue, because listen, I have been involved in a domestic violence situation in my past, and I was not the aggressor. I did not put my hand on this person, on my ex-boyfriend at the time. And I don't know, in that moment, in speaking to him and going through therapy and all these things, people always will have an excuse for the decisions that they make in an impulsive moment. And that is why I will always encourage consciousness and mindfulness, because I think that too often times we do not put space between our thoughts and our actions. And so therefore we live with a level of impulsivity, which allows us to do things where if we just gave it another second, we might think to do something different. I can't say that it is okay for anyone to ever put their hand on anyone. So I'm not sure why this young lady felt the need to tap DaBaby. I don't know if maybe it was an accident. I don't know. And as far as I know, no one has heard from this woman yet. Now, this took place at, I believe, a club that DaBaby was actually performing at. Now, I don't know what may have been the impetus for this young lady to put her hand on him. Maybe she was trying to catch a case. I don't know. What I do know is that DaBaby has been caught in a lot of situations, like many of us, where he's been caught off guard with his impulsivity and has been very reactionary. Now, all of us are nasty by nature, right? I mean, that is the whole reason for me as a Christian. That is the whole reason that I acknowledge Jesus dying on the cross was to bear the weight of our sins, right? And even if you don't subscribe to that theory, I think nasty by nature for us, Human will is something that we're all born with. You know, you don't have to teach a baby how to lie. Babies don't go to lie school. You know, you can catch a 2-year-old eating cookies or with markers all over their face, and you're like, excuse me, how did that happen? I don't know. Or I didn't do it. It's almost instinctual for us to lie as people or to be reactionary. But I almost wonder how instinctual it can become for us as human beings to evolve to a place where it is instinctual for us to become conscious and become mindful when we move. You know, how hard, and I guess that's a great question for you. How hard is it for you to put space between what you think and what you say and what you do? You know what I mean? How hard is it? It's a learned process because I think, again, we're nasty by nature. So, I don't know. I mean, I know for me, putting space between my thoughts and my action or reaction is sometimes difficult, and a lot of times I may be with people who are, even myself, I can be impatient at times. You know, when I text someone and I don't get an immediate text back, I'm like, well, what the fuck? Not giving prudence to the fact that maybe this person is just being mindful and thinking, how do I answer this? Or how do I react to what you just said? I wish that in that moment that DaBaby would have taken a moment to stop before he reacted. I also wish that this young lady would not have taken advantage of the fact that DaBaby was in a vulnerable state, and him being a celebrity, it does not mean that he is a cash cow celebrity. And, you know, he seems to be racking up the frequent miles on court cases. So, you know, ladies, if I can advise you to one thing, fembots, some of my studs out there, some of my tops, some of my femmes out there, if I could advise you on anything, when you come across a man and you think as though specifically a cisgendered man and a cisgendered straight hetero man who may be dealing with a level of toxic masculinity, and I'm not saying that DaBaby is, I'm just saying if you do come across that, be mindful of how you throw them bows, okay? Because I saw a lot of comments in terms of people saying stuff like, well, y'all want to be equal, so an equal hit deserves an equal slap. And I just don't feel like that is what equality, I don't believe that that is what feminist equality means. I do agree, though, that, like, it's not okay for anyone to put their hands on anyone. DaBaby is actually offering $10,000 to any fan with a good angle of, as he says, shawty hitting him. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. And, you know, I am rooting. We were all rooting for you, DaBaby. We were all rooting for you. I don't want to see him on. I don't want to see DaBaby on an episode of Red Table Talk trying to figure out where he went wrong in terms of slapping this young lady. So again, like I said, he is offering up $10,000 to anybody who has a great angle of him hitting this young lady. And, you know, again, as I said before, don't put your hands on people. Create space, because quite frankly, this young lady can land herself in jail. She may think that she could possibly land herself some money, but it's not worth it. Now, how are you guys dealing with the coronavirus? Because, girl, let me tell you, the whites are very up in arms. Now, I had heard a rumor at some point that black people were somehow, because of genetics, that we were somehow immune to catching the coronavirus. Now, I have to say this. I feel like New York has declared a state of emergency. The governor has declared a state of emergency. And the last time I heard, within the tri-state area, we were topping off at about 70-something cases of the coronavirus, spreading from Long Island to Westchester to Manhattan. So, listen. I think that it's very important that we all stay vigilant. I'm really saddened to hear that some of you are just now learning how to wash your hands. Okay. Some of you, I was watching an episode of, which I hate this show, but I do love Amanda Seales. So I have been trying to give it a chance, but The Real. And Adrienne Bailon Houghton of 3LW and Cheetah Girls fame said that she does not wash her hands when she's home and she uses the bathroom. And I thought to myself, that is fucking gnarly, dude. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, you think that you are not needing to protect yourself from anything. But baby, like, when you wash your hands, don't worry about the back of your hand or even the skin. You need to be worried about the fingertips and the actual fingers. You know, the fingertips, especially if for a lot of you girls who wear nails, a lot of you fellas who grow out your nails or whatever the case is, that's where you have to be most vigilant about washing your hand and making sure that you really get down into the crux. They say 20 seconds of washing your hands and going back and forth and going a little bit above the wrist should get you taken care of. I did not realize until all this stuff started happening with the Rona how many times I touch my face for the day. And I'm mortified. Okay? Like, I don't know about you, but I'm one of those girls that like talks with my hands, you know? And so it's almost like blinking. You don't realize how many times you touch your face or you touch other things and then you may scratch your face or whatever the case is. I'm not scared of anything having to do with the coronavirus because I feel like, again, I'm pretty vigilant when I am at work, when I'm in public spaces, and even when I'm in my home. You know, I grew up knowing, I don't know if you guys know anything about Dettol, but Dettol is really big in the Caribbean, Jamaican community. It is a disinfectant and a antiseptic disinfectant, and it is very strong. Oftentimes it's made to be diluted because of its strength, but you know, I spray down the toilet with Lysol. I spray down doorknobs. I spray down, you know, remote controls. I clean them with disinfectant wipes. I will wipe my phone down at least twice a day. I usually wipe my phone down in the morning, when I do a little astringent on my face. And then at night, I may, if I get a chance, wipe my phone down with a little, disinfectant wipe. I keep disinfectant wipes in my car. Antibacterial wipes, things like that. So listen, protect yourself and protect others. All you girls out there who are wearing these masks, you're a dumbass, because those masks, unless you have been fitted for an actual surgical mask, you are more than likely not protecting yourself from anything, as well as not protecting anybody else from anything. So something to keep in mind if you're stupid. For a lot of the girls out here, going to any of these festivals, South by Southwest has been canceled because of the coronavirus scare. And I know that there is there's some pending things happening with other festivals out here where a lot of them may end up being canceled because of the scare with the coronavirus. But for any of you people that may be wanting to take advantage of this, apparently there are cheap flights. So I'm trying to figure out, how can a sister book herself a ticket somewhere? Now, it's just that when I get there, I got to be extra vigilant about where I am and making sure that I wash up and do all of those things and maybe not get involved. Now, a lot of you girls, really are just like, you're really thrilling